Porsche have been building street cars for 70 years. And because racing has been in Porsche's DNA since the very first moment that first car rolled out of the factory, that means they've been competing for 70 years too. The top of the tree here in the US is the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup by Yokohama, and this weekend it's at a classic road racing circuit near Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Welcome to Road America. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindhaugh, and joining me in the IMSA broadcast booth is Jeremy Shaw. It's a perfect day, a little bit of high clouds, keeping the temperature to the early 80s on the Fahrenheit scale. Road America is barely changed since it was first carved out of the landscape here in the 1950s. 14 corners, 4.048 miles around, and action areas aplenty. Very fast entry to turn 1, but still an overtaking spot there. Difficult downhill braking into turn 5, that's another place you can make a pass. Don't forget that notorious kink on the back straight and an overtaking spot possibly at Canada Corner. On pole for our second race of the weekend, a young man making his way through motorsport as a career, Zachary Robichon.
Yeah, you know, yesterday was a fantastic race for the More Speed number 19 car, so we're going to hope to repeat that today. You know, yesterday the start went pretty much perfectly, and as much as I could plan for it, I could say, yeah, we're going to do the exact same thing, but of course when we get out there, so many variables, so there's really no way to predict how the start's going to go, but hopefully starting on pole, we can get a good jump and head down and move forward.
The cars at the front of the field will be the Platinum class cars with black numbers and black mirrors. They're the latest iteration of the Cup car. One version further back, the Gold category, yellow number panels and mirrors. A neat and tidy start to the first race of the weekend here in Wisconsin. Everyone playing nicely through turn 1. David Baker, the first to make a mistake, spinning in front of the pack. Kurt Vasikas having to take avoiding action and spinning in sympathy as the rest of the pack went through. Dan Hardy visiting the grass and having a harmless spin at the outside of turn 6. All the while, Zachary Robichon building up a huge lead. It was Dan Hardy who was involved in the big incident. Took to the grass again and this time didn't get away with it at the kink. And in the ensuing chaos, Scott Wellham caught in the carnage. His Kelly Moss Road and Race Porsche destroyed. Both drivers okay, both of the cars rather second-hand looking. Zachary Robichon wins it under full course yellow behind the safety car. In the Gold Cup, Kurt Vasikas comes back from the spin to win and take the top step of the podium. Cars heading out of the pit lane down towards turn 1 on their formation lap. Plenty of time for the drivers to contemplate the opening salvos of the race as they follow the safety car around this 4-mile circuit. The green flag is next from Elkhart Lake. Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and Road America, the venue for the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. The lights are out on the bright red GT3 pace car. That means the field is about to come under the control of our pole sitter, Zachary Robichon. Alongside him, Anthony Imperato in the number 91. Behind them, row 2, another couple of quick-starting youngsters, Esteban Root, Trenton and Maxwell. Row 3, Roman De Angelis and David Coltman, another pair of chargers. As we head through the rest of the grid, the Platinum Masters runners going through there. That's a class within a class for drivers who have a little more experience in life turns. Row 7 is our pole sitting Gold car. Victor Gomez, the 4th, really unlucky yesterday, had a huge lead when a technical problem pushed him down the field. The front two got very close together there for a moment. Into the pit lane for the GT3 pace car. As we're ready to go green, I'm looking both at the cars coming up the hill and then glancing back to the starter stand, which is just to my left of the IMSA broadcast centre here, which is right on the start-finish line. The pace is picking up and the green flag's in the air. We're racing, and it is the More Speed number 19 of Zachary Robichon, who gets a great start. Doesn't have to defend down into turn 1, although he's weaving backwards and forwards, trying to get some heat into the Yokohama tyres. It looks like Imperato is going to have to defend, and does, from the left-hand side of the circuit. He's gone a little wide at the exit of turn 1, and that was because Trenton Estep in the black and gold GTX car in 3rd position was looking a little racy. Coming through, great start by David Kolkman, already up in the 71 car to 4th position. That's the grey with the red and lighter grey coloured stripes on that car. 4th back in the line as they head down the back straight for the first time, and Zachary Robichon doing what Zachary can do. He's pulled the pin early. Man, he's good at the start of the races, and on the restart doesn't seem to worry him that the Yokohama tyres aren't up to temperature or pressure. He's done exactly the same as he did in the first race here on Saturday.
Very impressive. Also, Anthony Imperato, that kind of a 91, he doesn't have as much experience as most of these other guys in racing terms, but I'll tell you what, he drove a great defensive race yesterday to finish in 2nd place and did an absolutely excellent job on that first lap, particularly down to the first corner. He kind of squeezed Trenton Estep, who was alongside him, made a great start from the 2nd row down to the inside in that turner. So he was still entering turn 1 from the middle of the road rather than the outside, which is the preferred line, but that meant effectively that number 3 car had to back off, otherwise there was going to be contact. So really good driving there from both of those two. Then 2nd and 3rd, that is Imperato ahead of the championship leader Trenton Estep.
Defensive driving doesn't have to be making late moves and pulling in front of people. It's where you position the car. Bit of rally crossing. It is Kurt Fazekas. Bit of rally crossing from Kurt. Finished 2nd in his category yesterday.
No, he won it yesterday.
No, he won yesterday,
yeah,
yes.
Right at the restart, he overtook, but he made a mistake yesterday on the first lap. He spun at Canada Corner, had to work his way from the back of the field, and made a great pass late in the race to win the class.
Yes, that's right. It went by Rob Ferriol, didn't he, to take his category. He's sitting at the moment down in 3rd position in the Gold Cup with Sebastian Carrazzo and Victor Gomez ahead of him. End of the first lap, 1.6 seconds, and again Estep tries to the inside in the black and gold car, and again Anthony Imperato just holds that line. And what he's doing there, Jeremy, and I think this is very clever, I like what Anthony Imperato's doing here. He is defending, and that means he is going to get a bottleneck. He's at the cork in the bottle at the moment, and his car's, he's losing time because he's not on the optimum line. But what he's doing is forcing Trenton Estep to go so far down the inside that Trenton's got to brake earlier, and he actually can't even get alongside into the turn-in area. Fazekas with the wild ride through the kink on the first lap, and a bit of experience there from Kurt. Sometimes you've just got to let the car bounce and settle. Soft hands, don't touch the brake, and just feather that throttle back, and that's exactly what he did, and sort of coaxed the car back onto the asphalt of the racing circuit. I bet the heart rate went up a bit there.
Persuaded it back on the road.
Yes.
Coaxing is a great word, and exactly right, because I was talking to Kurt just a few minutes ago actually, and he was telling me that he was at a bit of a grandstand view for the big accident that took place yesterday down there, and the car came across the road, just missed him at that same point on the racetrack, having done pretty much the same thing. Yes. So he kind of knew what he needed not to do, and he did it perfectly there, and lives to fight on in this race. Cost him a little bit of ground, but he won't worry about that at this stage, because yesterday he moved up through the field really well.
Yes, we saw that this track is quite hard on the Yokohama tyres, and you do have to be a bit sensible. Now, what I've just noticed is that Kurt Fazekas has lost the little rubber chin spoiler from underneath the front of that number 52 car. It's sitting just beyond the kink, and that is going to be disastrous for him through the faster and some of the slow corners. It is absolutely imperative to the turn-in of the car. He's going to be plagued with understeer for the rest of the race. It's always been the case on the Cup cars, going back many years when I was involved with Porsche Carrera Cup UK and doing the commentary for that, right through more recent years with Middle East and with the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama here in the USA. And in fact, Trenton Estep is more, I think, got his attention drawn to David Kolkman in the Park Place car, the 71 car, behind him in 4th position. And right there as well is Maxwell Root, and Roman De Angelis is about to link on and make this a 5-car battle for what is 2nd place down over. Behind that, Charlie Luck is a couple of seconds further down the road in the red Porsche with the green bonnet. And it is now effectively, Jeremy, 5 cars battling for second position, and Imperato's going to start to feel that heat being turned up again now, as Trenton Estep has probably just taken the mirror off or tilted it up. He's not now looking at David Coltman, he's eyes on the car that he's trying to catch up. Battling down into turn 3, Fred Purdad on David Baker, the number 20 car, got position then, might have just sneaked through. Couple of 3 cars further back, the NGT number 25, the light blue and bright red car, that is the leader in the GT3 Gold category. That's the previous iteration, the Gen 1 991 Cup cars. No, Baker did hang on to it with that white car with the blue front, the Apex machine. He's underbraked rather, and outbraked himself, and he's gone too far at turn 5. That's a tricky position to get yourself into. If you miss your braking point by even 6 inches or a foot, you're going to go wide there because gravity is pushing you down. That's quite a steep downhill there. And Fred Purdad, who'd already been putting some pressure on David Baker, has now gone through and taken that position. He is up to 8th position now.
Yeah, and second in the Masters class. The flash of green and red that just went through the screen. That's Charlie Luck. He's pulled out a little bit already over the rest of these guys. He was the championship leader in the Masters category. Done a really good season as Charlie. He's had 3 wins in the first 4 races, but he struggled a little bit at Watkins Glen, but did finish second yesterday as a result more of various other dramas for other drivers, in fact. But he's leading the Masters category now and looking pretty strong. But David Baker, he's looking up into 2nd place, and he's going to try and track him down. And right behind David Baker, or Fred Purdad and David Baker, I should say, are Alan Metney and Michael Levitas as well, and Mark Kawami is hanging on to that train as well. So it's a really good battle there for 2nd place in Masters.
Sebastian Carrazzo in that very distinctive lime green with red stripe car, sitting at the moment in 5th in the gold category, the number 27 car, 17th overall. And just to confirm that the 2 cars involved in the big accident yesterday, the 61 of Scott Wellham and the 69, the Hardy Porsche, those guys did not start the race today. Another incident at the King, and that was for the 27, and that's how it lost the position to Greg Palmer.
He lost a couple of places actually.
Eduardo de Leon gone through as well. He's managed to hold on to that little bit of rubber that's just underneath the front of the spoiler on that number 27 car, so he's not going to be as disadvantaged as Kurt Fazekas. And in fact, Kurt Fazekas has been repassed by Bill Smith in the battle for the GT Gold category. So now it's Gomez from the 42, the bright orange Porsche of Bill Smith, and then Kurt Fazekas in that purple car, the 52. He's dropping back and he'll start to struggle. We've still got 35 minutes left to go. And the front Yokohama tyres on Kurt Fazekas' car are going to take a pounding in that next half an hour plus.
Yeah, this battle of 2nd place is pretty tight here with Anthony Imperato and Trenton Estep, David Coltman, Roman DeAndres and Max Root. Those last 2 changed places, didn't they, by the way? So number 1 car is ahead of number 7.
Yes. Yeah, that he's just whizzed through there.
Yeah, he has. So that's the change. Roman DeAndres getting back to where he started. David Coltman has got past both of those 2, both DeAndres and Root, who's back in the 6th position. Good battling, but up at the front of the field, Zachary Robichaud, his last 3 laps done. We've just completed 4 laps, we're going to complete 5. He set the fastest lap on each of the laps. It was 2 minutes 12.60, 2 minutes 12.56, 2 minutes 12.52. Love it. That's why he's turned the fastest laps race, but it's super consistent. That's why he's pulling away.
Jeremy, we've seen in the past in this category that championship contenders have been able to win from deep in the pack or win from the front, and at various times I call it pulling the pin, basically just setting off. This young man seems to be able to do it right from the start of the race, even on cold tyres. It's an extraordinary skill to have, to be that confident at the start of the race when potentially is the most danger to somebody starting the front row. And Fazekas has gone around. Kurt Fazekas has gone around. The big gap underneath the front of that car is where the rubber should be, and he's lost that car and spun it, and that is him out of 3rd position in the gold category. Didn't see any damage on the car, so not sure whether it was induced. Meantime, David Coltman is going for 2nd, is taking 2nd. Estep must have made a mistake at turn 3 because Coltman was already in position in that little left kick on the middle straight, if you will, behind the paddock area. Oh, Fazekas did get some help. Rob Ferriol, little tap alongside him, and then again coming through the 13th corner. That's very quick indeed. Ferriol off the road himself in the number 5 car, and that's allowed Bill Smith up into second in the gold category, and going up to third, Eduardo de Leon. Sebastian Carrazzo, a masterful piece of avoidance of the sprinting cars there, yes, in that bright green machine.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
The all-new IMSA app, whether at home or trackside. Get behind the scenes with team and driver access all the time. It's the ultimate in fan experience. Choose your favorite manufacturer and strap in for the ride. With live scoring data, radio commentary, and session results in real time, it's just like you're there in Winner's Circle. The all-new IMSA app. Download it today.
Eduardo de Leon then in third position. The Gold Cup has behind him the number 44 blue and white car of Greg Palmer. Then behind him Ferriol in the red, white and blue Porsche. And just getting back onto the back of them, Sebastian Carrazzo in the 27, the lime green car with the red stripe. These four through the kink down towards Canada Corner. No, check that, they're at turn 5, my apologies. Pushing them too far round the track there, and just for a moment there's a bit of breathing space for the number 12 of Eduardo de Leon, and up the inside Rob Ferriol wants those positions back, but I'm not sure he was close enough. No, he wasn't, and Greg Palmer just held on to the normal racing line through turn 6, now through Hurry Downs towards the braking area turn 8.
Yeah, number 44 car, Greg Palmer from Colgate, Wisconsin, just an hour or so south of here. He's a chemical engineer by trade, has a chemical business down there. He calls himself a chemical geek thing, is the symbol on the front of the car, along with Cops Industries, which is the name of his business there in Colgate. So he's pretty much new to racing, just done a couple of years of racing, but really did nothing before this. So he's doing a really good job here, and he's just gradually gaining experience, loving working with Andrew Davies, who's the driver coach there at Kerry Moss Road and Race, and just loving every minute of it and getting better and better all the time. But he did a little bit of club racing, but he was just telling me this morning how different this level of racing is. This is not club racing now.
These aren't easy cars to drive either, Jeremy. It's often been said that some very good drivers have never got their heads around driving Porsches, and particularly Cup class Porsches, which don't have traction control. And in the Platinum category, there are no ABS on the car as well, although you're allowed it in the Masters category. So these are cars that you have to drive, have to do the right things at the right time. Second position, Imperato. Very impressive this weekend here. He's pretty much been under pressure right the way through both of the races so far. Still half an hour to go in this one, but he's not getting flustered, Jeremy, and he's driving his lines.
Well, he absolutely is, John, and all these guys behind him, this train of what, 4 cars behind him, these are all really talented youngsters who are looking to make a career out of this sport. Anthony Imperato, he's still only 27 years of age, so he certainly isn't old, but this is not his primary business. His business is the Henry Firearms that has a base actually here in Wisconsin in Rice Lake, but he's not he doesn't aspire to be professional. But David Coltman behind him, Trenton Estep behind him. David Coltman's just early 20s. The other two right behind him, Trenton Estep and Roman DeAngelis, and Max Root, they're all teenagers who want to make a career in this sport. So to be running ahead of them and doing such a good job, he's not getting flustered like you say, just driving his lines, being consistent, hitting his marks, doing an excellent job in second place.
In the Masters category, Charlie Luck in the 45 car having a bit of a lonely race. He's 9 seconds behind the cars ahead, but he leads the pack, battling for second place in the Platinum Masters by, what, a good couple of 3 seconds, and that's led by Fred Podad, and off on the final corner. That is Mike Levitas in the 36. Managed to hold on to it, but gives himself a scare and might just have allowed Mark Kavami through. Yes, he has, I think, yeah. Kavami's right there. No, I wasn't able maybe to make hay on that one. At the moment, the man who's most likely to move position is David Baker. The middle of 3 Porsches heading down the hill to turn 3 at the moment. Podad in the 20, the red, white and blue from the mainly white with red, yellow and blue, and then the almost all white 99. That's Alan Metney. Had a huge accident here last year down by the kink. Very unforgiving down there. Huge outbraking manoeuvre tried by David Baker. That was very ambitious. He actually almost pulled it off. Rather surprised himself, I think, and may have just fluffed coming out. Oh, and he's moved over on Metney. That was poor driving by Baker.
Well, you know, he was still trying to save his life coming out of turn 6, to be honest. He didn't look alongside him, and the number 99 car was right there. So, yeah, he'll probably get a little bit of a ticking off from that from the stewards. That's cost Metney some time. He did a good job, actually, a very good job to save it. But you're right, exactly that. Let's have a replay of what happened here. You can see David Baker comes off the corner, and he moves across. I mean, you move across there to the left-hand side of the racetrack to take the right-hander ahead of you. So that's what you do. I mean, if you put your nose in that position, I mean, he wasn't alongside him, Metney, so I'd say that was a shared responsibility there.
Penalty drive-through for the number 56 of David Baker, and he's already come into the pits to serve that. So race control seeing that incident
exactly the way you did.
A little wayward. Not a stop and hold, just a drive through. Baker's in the pits in front of us now. Meantime, battle for second position, and for a moment there was a slight overlap from Coltman onto the rear 3/4, and a mistake. There is a mistake from Imperato. This time he had to defend and went too deep on the brakes into turn 5. So having built him up about not being shaken by the pressure, Coltman just managed to unnerve Imperato enough and is now through to second. Write this down and remember it, with 21.5 minutes to go, the gap between Coltman and Robichon is just about 7.5 seconds. Let's see what happens there towards the end of the race. And now Imperato, what Imperato's going to do now is he's got to forget the fact that that dark grey car, the number 71 of David Coltman, is pulling away from him, and settle back down to do exactly what he's been doing for the previous 25 minutes. I thought it was a smart move by Coltman. He did get a bit of the overlap, but he was never going to make it there. But Imperato just maybe half a car's length, not even that late on the brakes, and went wide, and Coltman could see that coming and just squared the corner off and took the position. New second place car.
Exactly, and the problem there for Imperato was that he wasn't on his usual braking line, which is more to the right-hand side. He was defending a little bit there in the middle of the road. So given that, you need to brake a little bit earlier, and he probably didn't. He probably braked about where he normally does. So that cost him a little, he just lost the momentum through the corner. David Coltman said, "Thank you very much indeed." Moves up into second place. Really good effort by him, by the way, having started in 6th.
Yeah, he made up a couple of positions straight off the bat when the green flag was flying. Eduardo De Leon, the number 12 black car with the silver and red stripes, ahead now of Rob Ferriol. Ferriol has got by David Baker. Well, Baker's now dropped back, hasn't he, of course, because of the drive-through. So that is potentially a quicker car than the Gold Cup cars he's with. If you look at the mirrors on the 2 cars just going through Canada Corner now, the first 2 of those 5 have yellow mirrors and yellow headlights. That denotes that they are the first generation of Cup car in this class.
So still 20 minutes to go in this race, and the key here at Road America, one of the keys at Road America, is taking care of your tyres. You see David Baker here trying to make a pass on some of these Gold Cup cars as he works his way back after serving that drive-through penalty. But having a car consistent through a whole stint here is difficult. You can either set up your car to be quick at the beginning or set it up to be quick at the end. But you really have to look after your tyres, manage your race as a driver to make sure you're in good shape for the closing stages.
So a Gold Cup car is the number 5 heading down towards turn 3 now, the red, white, blue of Rob Ferriol. Behind it, a brand new for this season Gen 2 car. Last season we got them first here in IMSA competition. Slight difference to the aero on the front. The black mirrors is what tells us that that's a Gen 2 car, but there's a little bit of a power differential, a little bit different on the aero. Interior is different as well, and it's got the new safety seat and the access hatch above the driver's head, so that in any kind of incident the rescue and recovery teams can get to the drivers, to their helmets and their hands device without having to squeeze through the door or trying to pull something out through the side of the car. And these are all features on the Gen 2 car that have filtered down from the GT Le Mans cars and the GT3 cars in other forms of competition for Porsche. Great battle going on in this Gold Cup category, but not for the lead, because Victor Gomez is 30 seconds, yes, I did say it, 30 seconds up the road, half a minute between himself and Bill Smith. The 25 car goes across the line in front of us now, and in fact he's closing down a little bit on Mark Cavame ahead of him in a car that's not dissimilar in colours, at least from a distance, that lighter blue shade. Change of position as Sebastian Carrazzo has just gone by the number 12 of Eduardo de Leon, who struggled out of the final corner. Sure whether there was a problem with the de Leon car there.
It could be what we're talking about. You have to look after your tyres. We're getting now down to the final 15 minutes or so of this race.
That's gone quickly. Where's that last half an hour gone?
Exactly right. It's been a really good race, that's why. But you've got to look after your tyres. If you don't, then it does get particularly loose in the closing stages, and therefore easy to make mistakes. But Zachary Robichon out the front of the field, what a job he is doing. Just fabulous consistency. He's just pulling away even after Coltman's got up into second place. Robichon extended his lead by another half a second on that last lap. So some really good dicing going here. Also, I'm watching now the battle for second place, particularly in the Masters category. Here are leaders with the second place car well behind our race leader, Zachary Robichon, heading into turn 1.
The more speed car, white with the very light blue, has half of the front straight of a lead, and that is now 9.4 seconds. It was, if you remember, when David Coltman got through, just about 7.5 seconds. So Robichon has not waited even for Coltman to get into his stride and close down. He's decided to really break the heart of the young German driver in second position. He's not going to let him get a sniff of the tailpipes of that leading more speed car, the number 19. Coltman's pulled out just over a second on the battle now for the final spot on the podium. Imperato has, as I thought he might, just settled back into his rhythm now, and even the massed ranks and experience and talent of Trenton Estep and Roman De Angelis have been unable to find a way by the dark-coloured rear end of that number 91 car of Imperato ahead of them.
Yeah, both of these two youngsters, they're first and second in the championship. Number 3, Trenton Estep, number 1 of Roman De Angelis. Spoke to both this morning, and they've just been struggling with the balance of their cars over the weekend so far. They were making a couple of changes today, hoping it would improve them. Clearly, I mean, they're running well. They're running in the battle for second, but they're certainly nowhere near Zachary Robichon, who in that more speed car number 19 has got everybody covered.
The IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup USA by Yokohama, a little different from many of the other Porsche competitions around the world, one of the great things is that they all do use similar specifications of cars, and once everyone around the world has transitioned to the Gen 2 cars that debuted here last year, it will indeed be exactly the same car around the world, so from Super Cup down over. But here in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, not allowed to have what would be termed professional drivers. There's a nice mix here between the youth, some of whom we've been talking about earlier on, who are looking to make a career and using this to gain experience and exposure on the IMSA WeatherTech Racing weekend. They're putting themselves out there, and I'll tell you, a lot of the team bosses and the mechanics and the team chiefs and even some of the drivers will be trackside watching this because it is such good racing, and frankly the sound of that classic flat 6 Porsche engine demands to be watched and listened to. So there's the youngsters who are looking to make a career, and not just in the gold category but in the Platinum Masters, and some of the other Platinum drivers are racing still for what you might call racing for fun, taking it seriously. This is a serious championship, but they're not expecting the phone call from Porsche Motorsport at Weissach. They're just enjoying themselves, whilst these youngsters now battling for third position. Certainly the second two of those cars, and Imperato's made the same mistake as he made a couple of 3 laps ago, and Estep has pushed him into that mistake, hassled and harried him into that mistake. Imperato will be kicking himself, runs wide and long at turn number 5, and there's Estep back up onto a podium position, and that is very good indeed for his championship aspirations, Jeremy.
Yeah, it certainly is, because he's put a position between himself and Roman De Angelis in that car number 1. He's his closest challenger in the championship points coming into this weekend.
I am the trusty co-pilot, the moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
The all-new IMSA app, whether at home or trackside. Get behind the scenes with team and driver access all the time. It's the ultimate in fan experience. Choose your favorite manufacturer and strap in for the ride. With live scoring data, radio commentary, and session results in real time, it's just like you're there in Winner's Circle. The all-new IMSA app. Download it today.
Alan Metney's just taken the position from the number 20 of Fred Perdard, and that's second in the Platinum Masters. Charlie Lux 5.5 seconds up the road from that battle, and that is for 8th position overall, but for second in the Platinum Masters. Meantime, can Estep do anything about David Kolkman? There's no chance of catching Zach Robichon. We've barely seen the more speed car. Such has been the domination of Zachary. He's 11 seconds up the road now. And now, Imperato fighting a rearguard battle with Roman De Angelis. And De Angelis will want to be through here, Jeremy, because it's extra points in the championship. He'll be rather disappointed that he couldn't get a challenge on the black and gold car of Estep when Estep was in front of him, but he doesn't want to see Estep driving away, and he certainly doesn't want another car between himself and his championship rival in 9.5 minutes time when the checkered flag comes out. He's going to try to the outside into turn 1. Imperato's having to defend. The Kelly Moss Road and Race car was ahead as they turned in, but they both go very, very wide indeed. Now, how far off is too far off there for De Angelis, who loses the back end under braking down at turn 3. He might be being told on the radio to give restitution there, and
yeah, it's going to be interesting. He'd made the pass before the turning point, and what he did there, he gave plenty of room. They both gave each other plenty of racing room there, and in order to do that, then he had to run wide at the exit. They both outbraked themselves at turn 5. This is a super battle between these two.
And don't forget, even though the cars are getting lighter, They are losing grip. The Kenny Moss Road race car comes around the outside, but he's going too quickly at that point. Remember what I said earlier on, you've got to modify your entry speed if you're taking a different line. Earlier on we were talking about Kurt Fazekas, he was on the inside line, and in fact he has given the position back. The position has been given back there, and I'm pretty certain that was a wise move. Ordered by race control, pulls over coming out of turn number 6, and that was because of the track limits violation. Now, Kurt Fazekas earlier on was on the inside, Jeremy, and he pinched it. Basically, he was going round the outside, so just needed to keep the car on the track and back off a little bit.
That's right.
The call is, do you gain advantage by going off the track? The advantage he gained there was in taking more speed into the corner. And he made, now the position was actually made up before he turned in, but he held on to the position by going off the track and not having to lift off and slow down.
Yes, but where he put his nail in his coffin was giving, by giving too much room effectively to Anthony Imperato. He was ahead at the turning point, and rather than go to the apex, he made sure that he gave Imperato room. By doing so, that meant he had to run wide. If he'd have been a bit more aggressive there with the turn in, because he cleared him, he probably might not have seen him, but he had cleared him, and if he'd kept that line, his normal line through there, he'd have probably got away with it. Good call there, good racing between these two. This time, it's the boot is on the other foot.
Now let's see how this one goes. Imperato squeezes down, and he's gone wide. Now that's a great pass.
No, it's the same thing. What are you talking about?
No, down the inside. He's done it down the inside. They're still side by side going down to turn number 3.
Yes.
Imperato had to lift off there. He knew he did. And now they're side by side again. And this is not over. The track goes to the left next. And Imperato might... No, he just couldn't get it. What a shame. If he could have hung out there. The track goes to the left at this point of the track, but now the number 1 car, Roman De Angelis, is on the less than ideal line. Imperato tried to get the cut back, but that was very clever driving by De Angelis. Yep. He parked the car on the apex so that the car behind him couldn't get the cut back. This is great stuff from these two. And the lap times are just going out a little bit. Robichon, by the way. Beautiful Sunday drive. What's all this fuss about, he'll be thinking?
Yeah.
He's over the top of the hill and
he's
gone before the other guys can even see him.
That's right, exactly right.
As far as he's concerned, he's the only one on the track at the moment. He's not seen anybody. It's a long enough track that he probably won't lap anyone. So he's just on it's like being on a private track day at the moment for Zachary Robichon.
Yeah, what a good job he has done this weekend, stepping in. Will Hardeman, the regular driver in that number 19 car, for more speed. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to make either of the last couple of races. Got some issues at home, and we wish the Hardeman family all the best there. But unable to come to the races, they've got commitments to its sponsors, so they needed somebody in the car. Gave the call to Zachary Robichon, who's leading the championship north of the border. What a job he has done.
It's been an awful day for Kurt Fazekas, who is on the infield in the purple People Eater, the 52 car, with that front rubberized spoiler, bib spoiler replaced. He's now heading towards the final corner. It's turn 13 that's done for him twice here, isn't it, in this race? And I think he might be peeling off into the pit lane here, Jeremy, and deciding to give best. He has dropped off the lead lap, of course, even in his class.
So the green wheel's not working for Kurt Fazekas.
No. Yeah, good point.
Just try the pink or the purple next time.
He's a character, isn't he?
He is, he's great.
We like him a lot. 3 minutes and 20 seconds, just under, to go. Robichon just needs to keep the car under him, not make any silly mistakes, keep the concentration going. But David Coltman is by no means settled in second place. Now, the good news for Coltman, in some respects, is that's the championship leader behind him. So Trenton is not going to do anything silly and risk ending up with 0 points, or at least dropping to the back of the field, which means that David can be a little more aggressive perhaps in his defence, because I'm pretty certain Trenton will have had his orders before he even went out this morning from Jeremy Dale. that he just needs to get this car home and take whatever points are on offer. At the moment, it's third place points on offer. Second is there, a couple of Porsches car lengths ahead of him, but he can't afford to gamble with those points.
That's right, he's been on the podium every race except for one this season, and the one he wasn't, he got a drive-through penalty, cost him some time, so slipped back to 6th, but it's been a really good, consistent season for Trenton Estep. Makes the moves when he can, but when he can't, he'll settle for what he's got.
Well, Estep was hoping for this kind of season last year and didn't get the consistency, did he? This is how you put the championship season together. Robichon showing his class at the front of the field and showing why he was the go-to guy for that number 19 more speed entry. It will be the white flag next time by for Zachary Robichon.
Slight lock up there and the braking for turn 8 for David Coltman, but he's driven these cars now for a couple of years in Germany, so he knows exactly different tyres over there, sure, but he knows how these cars feel towards the end of the race. He's got half a season now in North America as well under his belt. He's managing that race well in second place.
All of these tracks are new to David Coltman, and he is loving every single one of them. Just wide-eyed when he came here for the first time. Estep planning, scheming, plotting, working out with the racing driver brain. Where am I a bit stronger? Where is he a little bit weaker? Can I manufacture an opportunity in the next 4 miles or so? Leader comes across to take the white flag now. The battle for second is at the bottom of the hill as Zachary Robichon is out of sight, literally well out of sight. He's turning into turn 1 and the battle for second position hasn't crested the hill now. Wait for Coltman coming across the brow. There he is. Oh, flash of the headlights. 10 extra horsepower then for Trenton Estep. He goes to the inside. He's trying to intimidate, trying to draw the attention of David Coltman in the 71 car as they go through turn 1. Both of them just about inside the track limits. Less than 4 miles now for this second place battle, and Estep surely will have the management words ringing in his head. Don't throw it off. Third place will be fine, particularly when Roman De Angelis is behind you. De Angelis is in 4th position, but that's still the points gap opening up between those two young chargers.
It's hard to believe Estep's only 18 years of age, but he's a student of the sport. He absolutely loves the sport. He's doing every trick in the book to try and distract David Coltman and force him into a mistake. It's not happening yet.
And David Coltman stoically ignoring it.
Yes.
Probably now, I think if I was Coltman, I might have even just pushed the centre view mirror up to look at the roof and just keep glancing in the side. You can see which side the car comes from. Another little lock up by Coltman at turn 8, but he's got it under control. Now he's got to get out of the carousel well. You can easily overdrive the carousel. That's lovely by Coltman. Just drop the right hand front Yokohama onto the grass in the middle to get the nice run out. Uses the rumble strip on the exit. Now down through the kink. Just a little dab on the brakes, then back on the throttle. Oh, he's gone wide, and he may have had to lift off just a tiny bit. Is this the chance that Estep has been looking for? He's on the flasher. He knows there was a mistake there. Estep brakes early and forces the German ahead of him into a defensive move. I think Estep should have been on the racing line there and tried the cutback, but there's still another corner and then the long drag up the hill. Through comes Robichon, the checkered flag for the more speed number 19, but we're going to keep looking at this battle into the final corner up the inside. Estep had one look, he's going to have another go. Right in the draft now. I think Coltman's done enough, he has. He's made that possibly closer than it needed to be and crosses the line. The 71 of David Coltman second, Trenton Estep, another good points-paying race for the JDX car. And meantime, in the gold category, Victor Gomez, no repeat of his technical maladies from the Saturday race. He's caught Mark Kavame, so that's actually the battle for 11th and 12th, but Victor won't care about that. He's almost, well no, he's more actually than 40 seconds ahead of the battle for second, which has gone the way of Bill Smith. Rob Ferriol recovering after a couple of incidents to third position in gold. But Victor Gomez will be on the top step of the podium for the Gen 1 cars, the gold category. By the way, it was Charlie Luck who got the Masters result in 7th position overall for the 45 car. Well, a little bit of redemption for Victor Gomez after a disappointing end to yesterday's race. And at least he gets one trophy to take home.
I am the trusty co-pilot. The moving part that moves all 2,000 parts. I am the translator who interprets the road, the permission to take the scenic route, and the guide that gets you there safely. I'm not just any tire. I am a Yokohama.
The all-new IMSA app, whether at home or trackside. Get behind the scenes with team and driver access all the time. It's the ultimate in fan experience. Choose your favorite manufacturer and strap in for the ride. With live scoring data, radio commentary, and session results in real time, it's just like you're there in Winner's Circle. The all-new IMSA app. Download it today.
Phew is all I'm going to say at the end of that one. Road America and the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama once again have delivered brilliant excitement and entertainment, with Zachary Robichon taking it ahead of David Kolkman and Trenton Estep, with Roman De Angelis in 4th position. Victor Gomez gets his just rewards, 12th overall and winning in the Gold Cup. Let's head down to the winner's circle and a very happy Zachary Robichon.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the guys from More Speed. You know, the car, as we saw this weekend, has been just unbelievable. For me to be able to jump in with a new team in a car I've never driven, you know, their setup was super easy to drive from the get-go. I think in the second practice session we had the fastest lap time. So ever since then we've been refining it a little bit and getting better and better, and I actually think the car was better today than yesterday. So, you know, can't say enough from the job they did, and, you know, all I had to do is turn the wheel and push the gas pedal, and they did all the rest.
Trenton Estep leads the Platinum Driver Points table after Road America, 17 points back. Roman De Angelis in second. Good battle for 4th, though, between Maxwell Root and Anthony Imperato. Just a couple of points between them on the table. After 10 rounds of gold, Kurt Fazekas is in 2nd position. He's got a 17-point deficit to Victor Gomez, the 4th, who leads and was a winner.
Really happy with my race pace. I think we did a 2-minute 14, and the planners were doing a 2-minute 12, so very competitive. Really happy to come back to Road America. And the first qualifying, we qualified first, but unfortunately I had a fuel pump failure, which put us back from P1 to last. Still brought points, and today I could bring the win.
Our next venue for the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama is another classic road racing circuit, Virginia International Raceway. Exactly as expected from America's National Park of Speed. The flat 6 Porsches in their natural habitat, looking and sounding fabulous in the wide open spaces of Wisconsin. Thanks as always to our volunteer marshals, track workers and officials. Also to our hard-working crew both here at the track and back in headquarters. For Jeremy Shaw, I'm John Hindhaugh. Please join us again as we have more racing in the 2018 IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge by Yokohama.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of the International Motorsports Association. We would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.